marvelous makers
and art appreciators
to the ArtSpace podcast,
brought to you by Lemon Street Gallery and ArtSpace,
located at 4601 Sheridan Road.
Stop on by your favorite citrus-themed art gallery. The only citrus-themed art gallery?
I don't know.
There's probably another
There's
one.
another one in the UK, I think, that's called Lemon
also
Street.
Lemon Street? Okay,
Yeah.
I thought maybe there would just be like an Orange Street.
No.
Orange Avenue.
Similar.
Grapefruit Boulevard Gallery.
Yeah, don't get your scurvy and come into Lemon Street Gallery.
Don't get scurvy. It's time to get curvy.
With some art. And I am your host, Shelby Nesmith.
And I'm Jake Hoy, and I'm making very dumb jokes over here, apparently.
Either way, we're having fun. And today we're going to be talking with the fabulous painter and sculptor, Matt Bellefeuille. Hello.
Good evening.
Hi. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic.
Oh, good, good.
Matt, thanks so much for joining us. We're
Yes.
blessed to have you.
Aw.
Blessed?
I
Honored.
don't- yeah, I was about to say, where'd that
Both.
come from?
Blessed and honored to have you here, Matt.
Happy to be here.
Aw. But yes, a fellow Lemon Street artist here, so that's exciting. We're trying to knock them all out, and
Oh, yeah. Eventually, we're going to get all the artist members.
yeah, we have to. So, but
So if you're listening at home, you're going to get an email from us someday. It's coming.
yes, yeah,
Whether it's season 7, season 8,
Yeah.
season 42.
we'll be in your inbox.
We're definitely going to make it to 42 seasons.
Oh yes,
We're on 2.
yeah.
So
Hey, we just made it to 50. 50 more, and then 50 more.
it's
and
episode
50 more.
53. We just figured that out before we started recording.
Yeah. So it's only a matter of time, but so before we get into some questions here, I kind of have a pre-question that I like to spring on people. But you're an avid listener of the podcast, so you probably know the pre-question
I do.
of how would you describe the artwork that you produce, like the style that you work in, and tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my paintings are, I guess you'd call them a little bit impressionistic.
Mhm.
I've always been fascinated with pareidolia and seeing faces and things that aren't necessarily there. And if you've ever looked at my paintings or my interest wall,
Mhm.
you'll see that a lot of the stuff that I'm interested in is creepy stuff that kind of looks like a face and
Mhm.
maybe kind of not, or creepy.
Mm-hmm. That optical illusion that happens in your brain where you always try and find a face in things, and so kind of I could see you playing with some of that too.
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not even by choice. Sometimes I'm just walking by and I have to snap a picture and send it to my sister and see if she can guess what I see in the puddle or the dirt or whatever I'm looking at.
Yeah, just find the face.
Yeah, they're watching. They're
Yeah.
looking at you. I like to imagine that each one of those faces has a body behind it.
Yes, yes. And they feel kind of ghostly almost, so I feel like you capture that really well.
Thank you very much.
Going for that kind of creepy feeling, or this like unsettling. It feels familiar but unfamiliar in the same sense of like I need to see a person here. Almost.
Yeah. I was looking through some of your work earlier, and I don't know if I would have called it creepy right off the bat, but after you say that, I definitely am like, oh yeah, okay.
And there's certainly some that are creepier than others.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. And I could see too, like you define some a little bit more, or you'll leave some way more obscure, and just kind of let the viewer settle in. And
Yeah, the process that I've eventually come to and am sitting at this point, I'll basically block in all the color, and then I start blending and taking away, and then it's just getting to a point where I'm like, okay, I think it's done, and walk away. And sometimes I mess with it a lot more than others, so
Mhm.
it just depends on the day and the colors, and I guess how successful I was to lay the paint down in the first place.
yeah, because you also do a lot of texture, so you're building up a lot of layers there. So
Yeah, I don't use brushes. I tried brushes, and I didn't like the cleanup, and I didn't like the results of what I was getting. So I tried palette knives, and I've liked it a lot, and it's been fun, and it's easy to clean up, so I can walk by and do a little bit and wipe it off with a paper towel, and I'm done.
Yeah, I'll just walk away and just say, hey, you're going to sit there and dry for a little bit and revisit it when the layers are dry and just, yeah, I like that process.
I never would have thought of that, but that makes a lot of sense. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's way
And
easier to clean a knife than something sort of fabric.
And I'm not actually letting mine dry at all.
Oh.
Mine are all getting painted while they're still wet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's full on paint, and then
Wow.
let it sit for a few weeks and then varnish it.
Wow. Wow. Well, that's a different approach too. And that's, now that I could see kind of that process breakdown, where it's not a hard blend, but there are some areas that are blending a little more. So I could see, how that process kind of works for you. So that's really awesome. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll actually be celebrating my 1 year as a painter basically this month.
Oh, yay.
So
Awesome.
it's been fun.
Aw, well, good. Happy 1 year anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, I am celebrating my 33rd consecutive year of not painting, so I have a very dumb question. So you alluded to it, Shelby, but like, I shouldn't say normally, but like oftentimes you'll let it paint, you'll be painting and you'll let it dry and then you'll paint it again.
Mhm.
So it's a little bit more unusual, possibly, to keep doing it while it's wet.
I don't think it's unusual. It's just less common, or I don't know. That's kind of a subject
no
matter.
idea.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know.
I know landscape painters will paint wet on wet.
Okay.
I don't know how many people who are trying to capture portraits do, but a lot of times you're not watching the process. It's only through them talking that you find that out.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
The portrait. Yeah, I get it. Okay.
Kind of like a hidden secret type thing of just like, oh yeah, I do that all in one go. Versus, you usually try and take it in stages if you don't want as much texture on there. But like with his process, just slapping it on there is kind of, it's okay to invite that and just keep going.
Well,
So,
it's definitely
yeah.
okay because look how it ended up. It
Yes.
looks great.
Yeah, I don't have the patience to let it dry and then come back to it.
Yeah, yeah.
I probably wouldn't either. I'm trying to think what I would do.
I can see that aspect with the palette knife too, because you have such broad strokes with the palette knife too, and you could probably get detailed too, but covering those large areas probably feels very satisfying, and then just being like, I don't have to wait. I could keep going. And,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I made all the mistakes you can make when you first start out because I was watching some stuff on YouTube, but I wasn't,
Mhm.
I'm picking the wrong reference photos. I was
Oh.
starting too small because I figured I could start with small canvases and because they're cheaper. And if I make mistakes, it's no big deal, but it's much harder to paint, especially if you're using a palette knife on
Ooh.
a 4x6 or a 5x7.
Oh,
That
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Now that you say it, it was like one of those like obvious things. Now that you've said it, it's like, oh yeah, duh, go big. So
Well, why don't we get into our actual paper questions?
Yes.
Paper questions. It's
Our-
on a paper in front of me. That's why I said the word paper, like a dummy. Matt, how did you first get into art, and what are some of your earliest art memories?
Mhm.
I think like most creative people, it's something you've just always done.
Mm-hmm.
I customized everything I've ever owned. If it was notebooks at school, I'd unspiral them and flip them the other way around so I had the white thing that I could draw on.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
So everything was customized, everything was painted. It never stopped and still hasn't stopped to this day. I make a lot of my own furniture from recycled stuff just because,
It's fun.
it's
cool.
fun, it's unique, and I can build it exactly to the dimensions I want it. So it works out well.
Oh, nice. Is that that kind of level of customization what kind of got you started in the sculptures at first, and then new chapter of painting?
Yeah, I was always an okay drawer. I wasn't great by any means. And I was at work one day and I was welding at work and just decided to try it on my lunch break, and it
Mhm.
came pretty naturally. So it it felt good, and I fell into that, and I did that for about 10 years.
Yeah, yeah. And I could see why just like I'm going to put a little bow on that. I'm going to move on to something new and challenge yourself artistically, I think. Is that kind of how you approach the painting or the shift in medium, I'd say?
Well, I had some very successful sculptures. The first permanent piece in the Union Park
Yes.
project. I sold a mechanical sculpture to Ripley's Believe It or Not museums.
Mhm.
And then when I did Inner Peace, the light up giraffe, the 8-foot tall giraffe, I basically said, I don't know that there's anything that I could make sculpture wise that'll be better than this.
Oh.
It was the first one I ever made that was exactly how I thought it was going to turn out.
Mm-hmm.
And
You said, let's stop now.
I finished. I'm like, I think that's it. I think it's time for something new.
Yeah. And I appreciate that because that's a hard call to make sometimes. It's just like, okay, I'm going to leave that and I'm going to move on and challenge myself with something else now and move forward as an artist. So big props to you for doing that. Yes. So
It's funny. Before we move on from the sculpture, I have to say that when I see your work, especially the piece in Union Park, it reminds me, this is a purely personal story.
Go for it.
For serving no purpose at all, but hey, we're podcasting. We're supposed to tell stories.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, I went to an event with my family. I was probably like 7, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the event. I want to say it was like Pike River Rendezvous here in Kenosha. It was something like that had vendors. Maybe it was an art fair. And I got this piece that was like assembled, like it probably welded together bits of metal, and it was like in the shape of this little like figure with wings and this long nose thing, and it was spray painted green, bright green, and it sat on my desk my whole childhood, and I have extremely vivid memories of it, but I never could figure out what it was.
Okay.
And I'm describing it to people who have never seen it, but you'll have to just take my word for it. It was an enigma, but that was what it reminded me of. It was just like seeing the different pieces of things that you kind of recognize. You're like, oh, well, that's this. This is a screw, that kind of thing. But put together, and you're like, what the heck is that? But I don't know. It was just, I found it very engaging.
Aww.
That was one of the things that I found interesting when I was showing my art is when people walked in the room, you see the sculptures for what they're supposed to be, the elephant, the horse, the giraffe, whatever. And then as they got closer, because it was all recycled materials, all the guys would start going, oh, there's a bolt and there's a screw, and they'd start pointing out all the little pieces that are in there. And they'd have to ask me, well, what's this? And I'm like, I don't know. I got a big scrap bin full of
Metal
steel,
stuff.
and this is just a shape that I needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just so happened to work as like the kneecap. So like, I'm sorry. Yeah.
And that might be the one area that parallels my sculptures with my painting is because from a distance you see the face.
Yeah.
And then as you get closer, you see the chaos, I guess, the big broad strokes.
That is a good through line between it. Now that you say that.
Yeah.
Really cool.
And when
It wasn't intentional.
Right.
It just happened.
Oh, well, nice.
The happy side effect. When I was a kid looking at that thing, I didn't realize that like puzzling over it and like being confused, but like also intrigued was like a good thing. And that was like a success on the part of the artist. I was just kind of like, what the heck is that? I like 7-year-old brain was just like, weird. What is that thing? And now looking back, I'm like, oh, that means it was like that was good. That
Mentally
I thought that.
stimulating
Yeah.
for your little child brain.
Exactly.
Your 7-year-old brain. Oh, well.
Well, thank you guys for indulging me.
Oh, yeah.
memory.
Glad we could do that for you. But and I know that one sculpture in Union Park, that's a very, very special sculpture to you and your wife and everything. So I'm glad that can be a part of so much more and a part of community. And it's just, it has taken on a different symbol, I think. But having that backstory and that weight behind the piece, I think it's so cool that we were able to kind of cultivate all of that together. So,
Thank you so much. I mean, it was certainly a big moment in my life. Melanie Hovey asked me one day, shortly after I became a member here, and I was only doing small sculptures, and she was like, the sculpture in the park is going to be coming down. Do you have any interest in making something big for that? And I said, sure, without even thinking. And
you're like, uh-oh, what did I sign myself up for?
and she said, well, they never buy them. They lease them for, a couple of years. And so, but you'll have to give me a price just in case, but they never buy them. And then she came back a few days later and said, they're going to buy it. And I said, but you don't even know what I'm making yet.
Yeah.
And she goes, it doesn't matter. I know it's going to be fantastic. So it's nice to have an advocate in your corner like that.
Aww.
We love Melanie.
Yes, thank you, Melanie.
It's been up for almost 10 years now, I think.
Yeah.
I was looking through the archives trying to find out when, and I think it was 2014 when it went up.
Yeah, wow. I just had a time moment of like, wow.
You probably don't even remember the park without it.
No, I wasn't even, I was living in Kenosha then, but I was in high school.
Yeah, the way I say it was, I was here, but I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that I talk to who are in Kenosha, around Kenosha, and I ask them if they've ever seen it, and they haven't. I'm like, it's just one block in, block in from Sheridan.
Like right around the corner.
It's crazy to me. I mean, it's like the centerpiece of the art market and the whole arts district,
Yeah, to see that on the logo of some of the things it warms my heart.
Oh, good. And it's kind of like the beacon of art here. People are just drawn to it as well. So I couldn't have picked a better beacon, I think. So awesome. But our next question here, we'll get into those again. Who were some influences on your artwork?
We talking personally?
Yeah.
Or are we talking about the famous people yet?
Both.
Personally first, like what influenced your artwork? And then the next question, we'll get into the big guys and the other people that you might just like.
My mom and my brother my mom was creative. She used to draw quite a bit, and she was always coloring with us as kids. And then my brother's 8 years older than me, so I'd get to see some of the stuff that he was doing, and because he was older, he was more advanced. And I've got a print of one of his paintings in my house right now. I asked for it specifically.
Aww.
But he's always been the same way, customize everything, and eventually he became a metal sculptor too. And yeah, so that was fun.
Oh, well, awesome.
I noticed a lot of our guests tend to come from artistic families.
Yeah.
So
it's got to come from somewhere.
Nothing wrong with that. It's just a good thing.
Well, awesome. I'm glad you had that support system too, because that's number one for going forward in artwork is having the support and the family to be there alongside you. So, yeah, awesome.
All right. Well, let's move into our next question. And this will sort of incorporate into the famous ones, as you said.
The big guys.
So who are some of your favorite artists? And then also, who are some of your favorite local artists?
Well, Salvador Dali is and always will be my favorite artist.
Oh.
I have multiple tattoos of his artwork, and I've been to the museum in St. Petersburg and got to see my favorite piece of art in the world in person.
I hope to someday.
Is that St. Petersburg, Russia? Or Florida?
No, Florida.
Okay. I was like,
whoa.
I don't know.
The other Salvador Dali museum is in Spain.
Okay. I was going to say, I thought he was Spanish. But
Yeah. Michael Carson is a guy I follow on Instagram who does some very cool paintings. A little closer to my painting style, but not quite.
Okay.
I'm certain that he has influenced my style a little bit.
Yeah, well, awesome.
We're all influenced, aren't we?
Yes. You're influenced by this podcast right now
Hopefully.
to support local artists.
Yeah.
Whoop.
Hopefully you're not influenced in a bad way to be
Yeah.
a silly dummy like me. Make dumb jokes.
No. To be the comic relief.
I don't know about relief, but burden.
Aye.
I'm in my feelings today, folks.
Well, I mean, you can visit the town, but don't stay. Don't live there.
Okay.
As they say.
I'm not going to buy a house here.
Yeah, don't. But alrighty. So moving right along to our next question here. What is your motivation to create?
All of my motivation comes from just having to get stuff out.
Okay.
I don't have any real deep thoughts behind my paintings. I just like making stuff that I think is beautiful. And more often than not with the sculptures, I had an idea for something, and until I did it, it was just gonna be waiting, like Inner Peace. I had that idea for 3.5, 4 years.
About to say you sat on that one for a while.
I sat on that one for a long time because I knew it was going to be tough. I knew it was going to be the most challenging piece, and far and away it was. And I slept much better after I finished that one.
Yes.
What were some of the big challenges with it? I'm just curious.
Trying to figure out how to get all the lights on the inside before I started, so I didn't get too far and have to cut away. I basically made a skeleton of the giraffe and then cut it right down the middle. Then I had to figure out how I could close it up and open it, so if I had to make any maintenance on the lights, I could. All the spots are hand cut with a torch, hand hammered, and then welded in place. I don't really plan much, so most of it is just winging it.
Oh, for like the shapes and that you were cutting out, or?
Yeah, I'd basically I'd hold a piece of cardboard up and kind of mark it out and cut it and go, I think that'll work, and and put it on there and bang on it for a while and then put it up there and say, okay, I need to cut a little bit more off there and put it back on, and eventually I ended up with that.
Yeah. So no measuring, just cut once. Yes, gotcha.
Well, maybe a couple of times if the first time didn't work. Right?
Yeah. But it is a beautiful piece, and I remember the day when you finally put it all together in the gallery, and it was just kind of a magical moment, and having you kind of see it for the first time, all lit up and everything too, and just all together, that was just so cool and fun, and in a place that was just displayed, and it was just, I think, so honored to be there. It was fabulous. So.
Well, thank you. Lemon Street has given me a lot of opportunity.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah.
It was also photobombing a lot of our photos.
Yep.
we would take a photo of like us podcasting here, because we've been podcasting here for at least a year now. Yeah. And it was set up right over here for a while. Like,
in the corner there. Yeah.
I'm pointing, but it's not a visual medium. You don't know what I'm pointing at. But it was in the background of a lot of our photos.
Yeah. Photobombed.
And every time I'd try to get it a different color, because it would rotate the color.
Well, awesome. Well, we're going to take a quick break and have some words from our sponsor.
Hi, Jake. Hi, Shelby.
Hi, Joseph.
It's Joseph from Draw Joseph Studio. Thanks for coming down to record your ad.
I'm so glad to be here. I love this podcast. I love what you guys are doing here. I love the art community. That's why I started my studio up at the Racine Business Center. I have this wonderful drawing studio. We do weekly sessions every Tuesday night from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. There's a different model every week, and it is free. All of the sessions at Draw Joseph Studio are free. Of course, I strongly recommend that people tip the model. That's what it should be, the artist and the model making art. And so if you appreciate it, you tip the model. We also do a monthly draw every second Sunday. You know about that, right, Shelby? It's second Saturday here, right?
Yes.
At the Lemon Street. And so the very next day, every time you come to the second Saturday, second Sunday portrait the very next day. And we're also going to be doing specialty draws, and we're talking about doing exhibition drawing at all of the art in the park. Is that what it's called?
Kenosha Art Market.
Kenosha Art Market. So watch. It'll be coming out. Draw Joseph Studio. If you want to follow and you want to look at any information about how to get there, go to Facebook, Draw Joseph Studio, or Instagram, Draw Joseph Studio with little spaces underneath the words, in between the words.
Yes. So
And come and draw.
yes, come draw the studio.
Yay!
Yay!
And we are back.
Hi.
Thanks
Hello.
everybody for sticking with us.
Yeah.
Thanks to Matt for not running away because we're annoying. He's still here, I promise.
Yes.
So let's get back into our questions.
Yeah. Let's
Okay,
go.
we're in the fun section.
Mhm.
Hashtag fun section. TM next to
Yeah.
whatever. I'm silly.
Copyright.
Matt, if time and money were no object, what's your dream project?
This question has been plaguing me since I heard about the question,
Oh.
since I started listening. And
Oh
heard the
no,
question.
sorry to have plagued you.
Because I don't think that far ahead, and so I have a couple answers that I'll throw out there as my answers.
Okay.
Go for it.
Now that I've been painting a whole year almost, I think I would like to try some murals at some point.
Nice.
I think some of my style might transfer well to that, so we'll see. I might have to throw my hat in the ring into some of those.
Yeah.
And then the bigger one that probably fits better as an answer to this question would be maybe potentially thinking about possibly
About maybe.
Hedging your bets a little here.
Yeah.
trying to open a place like Lemon Street in the Nashville area when I retire down there.
Oh,
okay.
oh, nice. We love
We've been
cults.
visiting there for a few years and fell in love immediately. And the plan is to move down there when I retire. And I've looked for art while I was down there, and there's a couple little places, but I think they are lacking in places like this.
Oh, well, yeah. Get another co-op. We start another offshoot.
I'm surprised that they don't have something. I mean, I think of like the big cities as like kicking our butts in some ways as far as art, I guess,
Mhm.
at least by quantity goes. Definitely not quality. But-
Ooh, putting that out
I'll
there.
consider us a little bit flattered that we've got one up on Nashville.
Ooh.
Okay, maybe I went too far there.
Walk it back. Jake.
Sorry.
Well, awesome. Very excited for those. And I know Chet has a mural contest too. I don't know if you saw that. If you want to
I did see that, and I've been
try it out.
thinking about it and trying to figure out how to get a pencil into my paintings, because that's one of the stipulations. It's I've been
Toying
thinking
with
about it, yes.
All right.
and I still have a few days, and I'm a great procrastinator, so you will know by deadline
Yes.
if I decided to throw my hat in the ring to that.
Gotcha. So, yeah, unfortunately, I believe deadline would hit by the time this episode comes out, I think.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I
Probably.
think it's the 15th or 16th or something like that.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we don't, you can't apply,
Sorry,
but
dear listener, we
Yeah.
dropped the ball.
yeah, but check in and see who's possibly getting involved with that.
If you
So-
were following our Facebook group, The Marvelous Makers and Art Appreciators, you
You
would
would
have
know.
seen about it. Because
Yeah.
Shelby, I believe you shared about it.
Yes, I did.
Because you're better than me. And
Mm-mm.
I'm not good at social media. But
When it's just filling up my news feed, it takes like 2 seconds to share. Because I've got so much local art in my news feed.
I mean, there's so
So,
much. There's
I
a
know.
lot. I mean, I've seen other mural opportunities
Mhm.
popping up
Yeah.
here and there also. So
I'm really enjoying that. I hope Kenosha's making a shift to
yeah,
do
we'd love
more
to
of
see it.
those, support more of those. So
I just saw one that's done now over on Uptown Restaurant. That's where I saw that one.
Yes.
It was Sarah and Shelby.
yes,
It's like a
Shelby
collaboration
Airplane.
thing. That's the restaurant where Hungry Head used to be.
Yeah.
So they got a cool mural. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good tongue twister. Cool mural. Oh, maybe it's not that bad.
Either way.
You try it at home and let me know.
But yeah, I'd like to see a mural because like you've said, your pieces do really well with distance. So seeing it on that scale, I think, be pretty cool.
Well, maybe one day. Maybe
Yeah.
one day we'll get to see that.
Yes. Well, I'm not waiting or anything, but yeah,
Guilting him into
it. I just love to see it. So, moving on to our next question here, we have: what is the funniest comment or a funny story that you've heard about your artwork?
When I was at the little art festival this past weekend, there were people who come around. I had built walls to hang the art.
Mhm.
First time I've ever had to build walls to hang my art. And some of the people who were coming around couldn't see me, so I was getting free, honest opinions.
Oh, I love it.
Oh.
And most of it was the stuff that I like, the creepy.
Okay, good.
And that's kind of what it makes me giggle, because they're saying it probably thinking it might be an insult,
Mhm.
but it's the best thing I think I could hear. It's the style I've always liked.
Oh, nice. Yeah, when you're kind of hidden and you can listen in and hear some stuff, it's just like, oh, like, how's this gonna go?
Yeah, I bet there's some people who would be insulted to have their work called creepy, but
yeah.
I know several others that would probably really like that.
Yeah.
Several of our past guests. I'm thinking of Jill specifically.
Oh yeah, she loves that.
Or is she more spooky? Is there a difference between spooky and creepy?
She does both.
Probably. What do you think, Matt?
I'm certain there's a difference between the two, but I don't
Spooky
know if I
versus
could
creepy.
eloquently
Do you-
differentiate between the
Do you
two.
think your work would be more spooky or creepy?
I think creepy.
Creepy. Okay.
Creepy.
I respect that.
Because I think with creepy, there's a sense of not unnerving, but like, I don't know. It just feels there's a level of foreign involved with it, I think.
Yeah.
Versus a spooky, it's either like that falls more into like skeleton.
Yeah, maybe more like camp almost.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, that's a good way.
a little
Yeah.
knowing, like, yeah. Whereas creepy
I know
is-
spooky when I see it, and I know creepy when I see it. That's the only way I can define it.
Well, there, it's settled.
Yes.
We'll just have to refer everybody to episode 53 if they
Yes.
ever want to know what the difference between spooky and creepy is.
Glad you got some feedback on that. That was in Illinois.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Richmond, Illinois.
Oh, gotcha. Well, awesome. And it was a spooky themed market, or
Well, a friend of
creepy.
mine has opened a shop in Richmond called Wicked Woods and Goods, and they have a lot of dark and macabre art and books and
nice.
some very cool stuff.
Mhm.
Socks, candles,
The whole
all the
gambit.
good stuff. All the good stuff for Halloween coming up.
Oh, yay.
And after the shop opened, I went to visit
Mhm.
and walked in, and I'm like, "Oh, you have really nice high ceilings here.
Yeah.
Would you like to have a giraffe visit for a while?" So that's where Interpiece is now.
Oh, nice.
And then so I've gotten to chat with them, and they organized this little festival thing first year, and sounded like it was a big success for most everybody. And next year they're hoping to be able to shut the street down and
Wow.
maybe take up the whole block, and
Mhm.
a little more music, a little more food, and
Amp it up. Yeah.
amp it up.
Yes. Awesome.
Well, if you're
Yes.
ever in Richmond, maybe we should tell our listeners to go take a field trip
Yes.
and go visit Interpiece
Yes, please
in
do.
Richmond.
It's
It-
beautiful.
Yeah,
Please
just
do.
Head out west. Was that 173? Goes
Yep,
out that
straight
way.
173.
If you hit the basketball water tower, you went too far. That's in Hebron.
Gotcha. You and your Wisconsin.
That's Illinois.
Oh, or Illinois. Well, you work on the precipice of the two.
I'm
so-
near the state line. I'm a state
Yeah.
line guy. You could say that.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
My ex-girlfriend's family lived in Hebron. That's why.
Oh, so you traveled.
we would go
often.
through Richmond all the time.
Oh. Well, either way.
Either way, Shelby's catchphrase.
Either way.
Well, we're on our last question. Can
Oh,
you
yeah.
believe that, guys?
Mm.
I know I can't. So, Matt, what are some of your thoughts about the local art community? Strengths, weaknesses, What do we need to improve? And that doesn't necessarily have to just be Kenosha. It could be the whole region, whatever it means to you.
You know, I've dealt with a few local communities. Anytime I go into any town, small town, big town, I try to find places like this and chat. And a lot of it is very similar people doing very similar things, community forward, and it feels like family when you find a good group of people. The only suggestion I would have, and I mean, there may be reasons behind why it doesn't happen, is for some of these galleries to do more things together. Because I think we're all about trying to expand our circle. The more people who can see our art and enjoy our art, and the better. So I don't know why there isn't more, this gallery and Dandelion and Waukegan and Racine and doing events together.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Ever since Get Behind the Arts, that really connected Racine and Kenosha, and they do studio tours.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that shut down and didn't make it through the pandemic. Ever since that happened, it's kind of just been like us looking around, and it's like, what do we do now?
That was a big loss. It was like an annual forcing everybody to work together.
Yeah, it was like, all right, play nice. You're gonna schedule, and there's gonna be a Racine day, and everyone's gonna go to Racine. There's a Kenosha day. Everyone go over to Kenosha. So
I think it's really easy to focus on your own issues and I got all this coming up, and then we got to schedule this, and then you forget, what about them,
Yeah.
And it's easy to draw lines and say, oh, that's Illinois, that's Racine, that's a different county, But it doesn't have to work like that, We're all people. We're all,
Art knows no boundaries.
Oh, there you go.
Bum, bum, bum.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yes. But actually, we are going to do a slight sponsorship collaborative kind of thing. Today, this comes out on the 22nd.
22nd. Yep.
On the 23rd.
Tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow.
Saturday.
The Creative Cabaret at the Creative Space. Lemon Street will be sponsoring some artists being there and showcasing artwork. So, that'll be kind of like our first collaboration since and sponsorship since Get Behind the Arts kind of dissolved and everything. So the timing of that is actually impeccable. So bringing that up. So yeah, we're going to be working with Creative Space.
It's exciting.
Yes.
First I'm hearing of it.
Oh, okay. Bada bing, bada boom. There you go, Mr. President. Mr. President of the board.
Well, I'm all for it. This will be fun.
Oh, yes.
I have a piece that I bought here last February that we had the February community show, and the puzzle pieces that we've talked about this in past episodes.
Yeah.
And there was one that Jill did, and oh man, now I'm going to blank on the exact phrasing.
Community over competition.
Community over competition is what it says on it. It's got a couple handprints, and I love that so much. I bought it, and that's what I think it's all about. Community over competition. I always say a rising tide lifts all ships.
Yeah, so. Definitely. So we're trying it out and seeing how things go, and yeah. So we might have more events in the future as well with them, and might take turns hosting each other. We'll see how things kind of grow. So yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Yes, very excited for that. So, but yeah, I think yes, definitely more partnership. We're always open. Always got an open door here, and I need to learn to close it sometimes.
Yeah, I was gonna say there comes a time where you need to focus on things that are coming up on our end. But
yes, because artistry is coming up, and
oh boy, we'll be here before we know it. You know what else will be here before we know it? The October show here at Lemon Street.
Yes, dun dun dun.
And one of our artists is sitting right here with us.
Yes. October featured Joe.
Yep, very excited, very excited.
So that'll be opening on October. I'm blanking.
I was gonna say,
I think it's the 5th.
Okay.
Yes.
I think we're setting up on the 2nd. So
I'm blanking. I know I sent out.
5th is a Thursday.
So that's when it opens.
Okay, October 5th.
Yep. So you can see the show October 5th.
And we'll have the reception on the second Saturday. That's the 14th of
14th.
October. So come and say hi and get to talk to the artists.
Well, awesome. So as we wrap up this episode, where can people find you?
If you want people to find you.
Yes.
I'm always looking for people to look at my art.
Yes.
Instagram and Facebook are the places that I post all the time. And it's at Alkali Arts, ALKOLAIARTS.
Mm-hmm.
And if you search that, I'm the only Alkali Arts on the internet.
Okay,
Wow.
gotcha.
So I am fairly easy to find.
Gotcha.
Where'd that name come from?
My two sons' names, Alex and Nikolai.
I had a feeling there'd be a story
Aw.
with that.
Yeah.
And then if you want to see Inner Peace, go out to Wicked Woods and Goods in Richmond, Illinois.
Yes. And we also have a very large piece in here right now. I'm blanking on her name. She's a large... Erin, that's what it was. I was like, it starts with an E. I wanted to say Emily, but that wasn't right. So, Erin. Come see Erin at the gallery. Then she'll be up for all of October as well. So, yeah, come see Erin.
Or you could come to the Kenosha Art Market. Oh, it was
Yes.
last weekend, the 17th.
Yeah.
The October edition of the Kenosha Art Market is going to be the 22nd,
Mhm.
and you can come see Deep Breath.
Yes.
In, did I get
Union
that right?
Park. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you did.
I thought so. Over at Union Park.
So his art is everywhere. Go check it out. Go support him wherever you can. Fabulous stuff. And you can also find us on the internet. Yes, on the internet.
Hopefully.
You can find us on social media at the ArtSpace Podcast on Facebook and on Instagram at the ArtSpace Pod. And you can, if you feel like joining our Facebook group, you'll hear the cool things that come up, such as the Artworks mural or that Chet posted. So yeah, you can hear cool things first. So join our Facebook group, the Marvelous Makers and the Art Appreciators, and yeah, get engaged and engage with the podcasting community. And you can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and our very own YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like, comment, review, anything over on those platforms, that would help us out greatly, and we appreciate it.
Yes, and we want to thank our sponsor, Joseph from Draw
Mhm.
Joseph. We want to thank Would You Kindly for doing our theme song.
Yes.
We want to thank you, dear listener, for listening.
Yeah.
It's what you do best.
Thank you.
And we want to thank Matt for being with us today.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Awesome. So I think that about wraps it up for this episode, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Depression, addiction, the thrill that you seek. Our restlessness cages the fire we need. We're here.